Tilt it up a little.
Yeah.
Okay. You ready?
Yep, I'm ready.
You're born ready. All right. Crane of the Cowboy coming to you on thelibertyplaybook.com. We are in Cleveland. Things are wrapped up. It is Friday morning. The convention is all done. Donald Trump gave a 1 hour, 16-minute speech, Patrick, and I think it was pretty good last night.
Boy, he brought the house to their feet, and walking out, you could just feel the electricity, couldn't you? Mm-hmm. And I felt it this morning in the elevator when I went downstairs. I said to a guy, he's got his Trump button on. I said, "What do you think?" And he shook his head and he said, "That was the best damn speech I ever heard." So I think there's something coming out of this convention in the first 3 days I've almost forgotten.
From a forensic standpoint, purely the way he delivered the speech, almost perfect. An hour and 16 minutes, not a gap that we saw, not a misspeak or anything like that. The question is, did the people of America, besides the Republicans who were here, understand the speech, appreciate the speech? They've seen snippets of Donald Trump for the last year, really. But this is Donald Trump sort of unleashed, little less ego, though he did say at one point, "I'm the only one who knows the system, so I'm the only one who can fix the system." That's a bit of apocryphal.
Yeah, but you know something? Yes, I do think they're going to get it. If you look at some of the quick polling, for the CNN guy was almost crestfallen that people actually enjoyed it. And people actually said it made him 56%, made him more likely that they were going to vote for him. So I think the changes that are happening, the changes in the Republican Party, as we talked last night, as I said, there weren't as many crazy hats, were there? This is a new breed of people. Yeah, there's some of the old hands, but there's also new people and new energy in the party. So I think it came out great, and he's a heck of a tub thumper.
Let's talk about the takeaways here. The one thing I think was most surprising was the peace and quiet, relatively, in Cleveland. There were some demonstrations. There were a handful of arrests, I think less than 30. A couple of cops got in a dust-up and were hurt, but there was a massive police presence here. Now, I didn't see it as a police state, as some have referred it to.
No, it wasn't a police
Let's
state.
do this again. I misspoke there. Let's do a second one. All right. All right, here's take two. Crane of the Cowboy joining you from Cleveland. We've wrapped up the Republican National Convention. It is Friday morning, and a lot of Republicans are heading for the airport, or at least maybe driving if they're in the nearby states, and they got a lot to think about.
They have a lot to think about, and I think they have a lot of joy to think about, because last night Donald Trump delivered what we used to call in politics a good old-fashioned tub thumper. And he got the crowd to their feet, and I think he had that haul in his hands.
It's very interesting when you look at the more liberal news media sites such as MSNBC, CNN. They're disappointed that there wasn't enough talk about social issues. In Donald Trump's world and in the Republican world, they're concerned about security. They really are. And I don't think Donald Trump is going to be most concerned with gay rights or Black Lives Matter, any of these hot-button social issues now. He wants security and he wants prosperity.
Yeah, and when he talks about gay rights, he talks about it in the sense of, hey, I don't care who you are. If you're willing to go to work for me and you got the competence, we're going to go work together. So he's bringing a new flavor to the Republican Party, and none of the liberal media picks it up. I listened to Christy Todd Whitman from New Jersey this morning. Well, I didn't hear many specifics. Well, first you build the frame of the house, then you add on the sheetrock, then you add on the roof, and then you build on the landscaping. Now you got a house. So this is just the beginning process of putting his program forward.
Now, people will say Donald Trump is not a politician. He's not a seasoned politician. How can he get the biggest political office in our land, if not the world? Well, there is some truth to that. But Donald Trump has gotten things done his whole career. He has built skyscrapers. He has things that they say couldn't be done, like the ice rink in Central Park, the Wallman Rink. He brings it in on time and on budget. Now, maybe that's a little thing, but this is characteristic of the guy. Let's talk a little bit about some of the surprises to you from the convention. What surprised you?
What surprised me is the reception that Peter Thiel got, the PayPal founder.
Openly gay.
Openly gay. And he said, I'm gay, I'm a Republican, and I'm an American. And boy, they went to their feet. And it wasn't like they were forced to. They jumped up and cheered him. So that was different. There wasn't any of the litany of the old-fashioned Republican Romneyite type, rhino stuff. The other thing I was surprised by was the Ted Cruz situation.
I was too.
I really didn't think he was going to come in and commit hara-kiri in front of the nation. But I think he did. And I think because of Trump's speech last night, old Ted Cruz is rethinking what he did.
Well, they say time heals all wounds, but this is one that I saw yesterday on one of the news stations. They were replaying an interview with with Cruz from 2012 when he was a rising star and looked like a lock for the Texas Senate, which he was. Well, that videotape from the other night is going to be in the vaults for a long time, and I don't think people are going to forget it.
They're not going to forget it, especially if Donald Trump loses and Hillary Clinton starts appointing Supreme Court justices. Ted Cruz will say, well, I'll be on the Judiciary Committee and I'll stop them. Good luck with that. So I think he hurt himself badly. If Trump made a bad speech, then people would say, oh, maybe Cruz was the guy. Because in 1976, when Reagan made that brief podium speech, the word in the hall was, maybe we nominated the wrong guy.
But at least there was unity.
Right. But if Trump would have failed last night, which I don't think he did, in fact, I think he hit a home run. If Trump would have failed, then Cruz people would have said, you see, we nominated the wrong guy. Now it's going to be, Ted Cruz is going to be a footnote.
Some of the things that may not have been in prime time last night, really, you saw a concerted effort by the RNC to reach out to all sorts of groups. The national anthem was sung by a black child about 5 years old, and she knocked it out of the park. We had a black minister who was taking the paint off the walls.
We both became Baptists last night.
We had a Korean-American lady talking about her experience.
Yeah.
We had Peter Thiel talking about being a gay man and being a gay Republican. So I think that the mission, and I think they achieved it, was to show that the grand old party is not a bunch of old, stodgy, grumpy people.
Yeah, I think that the grumpy old people, and I think that the people who are the dead-enders, never-Trumpers, are the old dinosaurs of the party that are heading to the tar pits.
Yeah, and I think, if we mentioned yesterday, that he probably didn't mean to do it, but Ted Cruz may have really unified things, because there are a lot of people who thought maybe Ted Cruz was the right guy. And now I think they said, you know what, this guy is selfish, this guy's egotistical, he's more of a narcissist than Trump is, and maybe we do have the right guy.
Yep. And on the demonstrations, I must add this one thing. The only real serious incident was as a protester tried to light an American flag and he lit his pants on fire.
Pants on fire, pants on fire.
That's what liars are.
At any rate, that brings us to the police presence. Thousands from all over the country, from California, where we saw the Highway Patrol, Montana, the Deep South, Florida, and all the Midwestern states, all across Ohio, Indiana, Michigan. A wonderful job. Calvin Williams, the police chief, a terrific job. They should use the blueprint in Philadelphia if they're not already.
And I'll tell you one thing. If you want to come to a great American city, right in the heartland, good old big shoulders type city, come to Cleveland. It's a great place.
Nice, folks. Cleveland should be proud. I think the Republicans should be fairly proud. Was it a perfect convention? No. Has there ever been one? Probably not. I think it was better than RNC Chairman Priebus probably wanted. I think it was better than Donald Trump probably wanted.
I think they go out of this convention and they're going to hit the road, and they're going to hit the road hard. And I think Hillary Clinton's got a lot of work to do, because Doug Schoen of Fox News, who is a Democrat,
who's a Hillary Democrat,
said any Democrat who's being honest with themselves should be worried.
This is a horse race, and we'll be following it for you, along with all the other developments in your political world and your constitutional world here on thelibertyplaybook.com. I'm Crane. That's the Cowboy. See you next time.
Oh, the second was much better.
Yeah, it was.